How we doing out there, folks? Good? Are we excited? Are we excited about Force Awakens coming out? I know I am. I've been talking to a lot of people that I've met through this podcast, across the country, even across the globe. And I think it's pretty unanimous. We're all pretty excited about it. So we're about 80 days out, and I'm gonna do my best to keep talking about new stuff in Star Wars up until the release. I don't know if I'll be able to do that, but I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try not to go back too deep into the well for old Star Wars topics. So I'm gonna try to keep it real and keep it new and keep it fresh. So, folks, if you're new to the show, I've been noticing that there possibly is some new listeners. Welcome. My name is Ron. I've been doing the show over a year now. Started it with my friend JP, and he had to leave for a little bit to go and have a baby and deal with his newborn baby. But I've been hanging in there. The show is Delusions of Granular. You can find all of our episodes at our website, delusionsofgranular.com. You can also subscribe to us on iTunes or Stitcher. And let me know do you subscribe through iTunes? Do you use Stitcher? Do you use something else that I don't even know we're on? I don't know. Or are you just going through our site? I'm just kind of curious, because I personally use iTunes for all my podcasts, but I don't know what other people use. So give us a shout. You can always contact us on our phone number, our hotline, 651-337-9364. And that's just a hotline, folks. I won't be able to pick it up, but you can leave us a message, and I promise that I will listen to it. If I like it, I'll use it on the air. If not, if I'll use it in any way, even if I don't use it on the air, I'll respond to you. Or email. Email is always easy too. That's swdog77@gmail.com. And always, you can find us on Facebook and Twitter at facebook.com/swdog and at Twitter, on Twitter at swdog77. So, folks, in continuing on with the journey to The Force Awakens, I wanted to kind of cover off on the last young adult book that came out on Force Friday. This is the Princess Leia book, Moving Target, Star Wars A Moving Target, Princess Leia Adventure in its entirety of its title. This is written by two gentlemen, Cecil Castellucci and Jason Fry. Jason Fry, you might remember, his name has popped up a couple times on the show in the past. He's written some of the short stories that have been appearing in Star Wars Insider. He also wrote, I believe, the Luke Skywalker adventure that we got, that I talked about a couple weeks ago, maybe. So this one is Leia. Again, this is the journey to The Force Awakens. So opening these books, you're expecting, this is going to take place after Return of the Jedi, but again, it doesn't. It's more of kind of bookends, as these books have all been structured. You have epilogue. You have a prologue that starts with in the Force Awakens era, where we've met 3PO talking to a pilot in the Luke Skywalker book. We've met a old pilot, not really called out by name, but in the illustrations it's clear it's Han Solo, kind of sitting at a bar, listening to other people fight and talk about their best starship. In this one, we get a droid. We get a droid by the name of PZ4CO, PZ for short. And this droid wants to interview General Leia. Interesting that that's her title. And we've heard rumors that that is her title in the new movie, so I guess this is a confirmation that she is General Leia. But this droid, I say she, I think it might be a female droid, I'm not sure, but this droid wants to interview Leia about her memoirs, and that's kind of the setup for the book. Once again, kind of setting it up for a one of the main characters to kind of recall something from the past that we haven't heard of throughout. We haven't heard of previously in the movies, and this story that General Leia reminisces about is actually takes place between Empire and Return of the Jedi. An interesting note there that this is the first of the new canon that I believe may actually be rewriting something that's already was covered in the expanded universe. So, we all know that Shadows of the Empire, that was the big book that was supposed to be the movie without a movie, taking place between Empire and Return of the Jedi, kind of the leading up to the events to the rescue of Han Solo from Jabba's palace. Well, this book doesn't quite go there. In fact, it deals with Leia kind of struggling with her commitment to the rebellion and, well, just wanting to save the man she loves. In fact, there's actually a pretty heartfelt conversation in this book between Mon Mothma and Leia about what the priorities are, and the priorities are really to save the people. It's hopefully one day the rebellion will be over, and they're doing this all for the people. So that's kind of a common theme that runs through the book. Obviously, the rebellion doesn't have the resources to go and save one man, so Leia eventually has to kind of let that go. At this point in the timeline, they don't really know where Han is anyway. Luke actually does pop up in this book, and he's working on getting some more facts as to where Han might be. So they don't know. So there's no real hard evidence to go on as far as where to track down Han. So with that being said, the news has come in that the Empire is building a new Death Star, and this might be it for the rebellion if they don't stop the Empire now. That this is their last shot. So they make it clear. A lot of familiar names pop up in the beginning of this book. We get Admiral Akbar, like I said. We get Nien Nunb. We get General Riken, and some of the other higher ups in the rebellion, General Madine, and whatnot. And they're basically they know that they have to kind of Endor is the spot, the strategic spot that they have to get to basically amass the fleet to put an end to the Empire, or at least the second star, Death Star, once and for all. And to do this, they need a distraction. They need to distract the Empire and not let the Empire know that they're amassing this fleet. That there's actually other rebel cells across the entire universe, and this ends up being Leia's mission, is to kind of go off and set up beacons across the entire galaxy to kind of call out to these rebel cells to basically amass the fleet at the name of the operation is called Operation Yellow Sun, and so I believe that's where they want to amass Operation Yellow Moon. Yellow Moon is actually a planet by the name of Galan, and so anyway, that is the mission that Leia goes on. Basically, be kind of a go off on a wild goose chase to basically get the Empire to notice her instead of this fleet that's amassing near Endor. And to do this, she actually has to get a new crew together, and this crew that she gets together, this is where we get one familiar face, and then we get some new characters. So let's start out with the familiar face we get. We get Nien Nunb. Nien Nunb, you all know, is the co-pilot to Lando in Return of the Jedi on the Millennium Falcon. But he's also already popped up in the new canon. He pops up in the Princess Leia miniseries that came out by Marvel, and here he is again. And I gotta say, I didn't go into this book with high hopes. I didn't really care for the Marvel miniseries about Princess Leia, so I didn't know what to expect from this book. But I didn't have high hopes. But once they started to basically really kind of flesh out these characters more, like Nine Numb, I really started to dig this. I thought this was a kind of a fun book, a little bit deeper, a little bit darker than the others. It's written in Princess Leia's point of view, so we really kind of get to be inside her head and the struggles that she deals with. But we also, get to learn about Nine Numb, which is cool. Nine Numb is he's the pilot of the Melcrawler. That's his ship. And he's kind of I wouldn't say like Han Solo, but he's definitely a roguish character. His mission is to fly Leia's crew from planet to planet, setting up these beacons, and his role in this is basically fly the ship, check out the latest the local spaceport / bar, and at every port, and have a few cocktails. So good on Nine Numb for kind of bringing some levity to this book. We also get a female character, Kitty O'Leary. She's a communication specialist. She's kind of the naive character of the book. She doesn't really know or perceive what the costs of the war are. She's a little bit just kind of very optimistic about everything. She doesn't think that things are very critical here. We also get a character by the name of Antrot. Antrot is a tech specialist. And, I tried to look up these characters and find out more about them, but since this is their first appearance in in canon, there's not a lot about them. I was able to, I think, figure out that Antrot is actually an alien that will appear in The Force Awakens. I believe he's the same species as a certain rebel pilot that kind of keeps popping up online in a figure. Elo Asti, I think is his name. That just popped out. That Elo Asti, we've been seeing him in his rebel pilot suit, and he's got some writing on his helmet, and it just came out that somebody was able to translate the writing into English, and it says "born to ill." So this is kind of cute. This is Elo Asti. They've kind of dropped off a couple letters here, and is probably a reference to Beastie Boys, of all things. Beastie Boys had an album called Hello Nasty, and of course Born to Ill. Well, that's kind of a play off of their first album, Licensed to Ill. So, interesting that this is our little Force Awakens hint here. If this is true, that Antrot is the same species as this Elo Asti in The Force Awakens. And then finally we have one last character in this crew, kind of brought in last minute, Major Lockmarcha. He's the protection, kind of the muscle for the group. He's a Dracilian, and a Dracilian resistance fighter. So he's kind of like the commando, kind of the hard-edged, army by the rules, everything goes kind of thing. And if I'm going to criticize this book for anything, I'll criticize that a lot of the characters are kind of they're pretty much very cliche characters that we know from other stories, but they work here. It's endearing. Lockmarcha doesn't really he's not really happy that Leia is in charge of him. He feels like he should be the one in charge, but Leia puts her foot down, and you would think that there would be a little bit more heads butting throughout the book, but no, it's pretty tame. I will say that there's not a lot of twists and turns in this book. Oh, by the way, just so if you want to visualize who these characters are, Major Lockmarcha, Dracilian. I don't know if you're familiar with the Dracilian race, but you may know him from the action figures. He's a prune face, so he's one of those guys that we see kind of gathered around the conference room meeting area in Return of the Jedi when the fleet is going over the plans for the new Death Star. So it's kind of cool that they tie him into this. He could quite possibly be in that room, maybe. Well, I'll get to that a little bit, but at least his race is there. And so anyway, like I said, the mission is to basically go from planet to planet, placing these beacons on each of these planets, trying to get the Imperial's attention, and they do get the Imperial's attention kind of right away. The first planet they go to is a planet called Bastille. It's a small gray planet. They actually are where they place the beacons. They have to climb this shaft, and in the shaft are these biting aliens, and they get all bit up, and they have to deal with that. But they do place the beacons, and of course the Imperials are there right away. And I will say this: if it wasn't, the book is well written, despite the fact that some of it is a bit repetitive. Some of like I said, some of the characters are a little bit cliche, but it is repetitive. It seems like this new crew, Leia's new crew, goes from one planet, runs into an obstacle while placing the beacons on the planet, and then has to make a quick escape because the Imperials are there. And once they escape, they realize that because of their presence there, the Imperials are taking it out on the planet, and basically destroying the planet. It's taking prisoners, killing people, and that's the darkness of this book, is like the costs of war. The mission they're on is it's kind of irrelevant, but it's also important. It's not the main mission. The main mission is the fleet amassing. Like I said, this is just kind of a decoy mission, and yet, even though it's a decoy mission, people are still getting killed. It's like lives are getting sacrificed for the big picture, and that's something that Leia is kind of dealing with throughout the book. In fact, the book starts out with kind of a crew kind of getting killed because of they were protecting her, and that's that's the weight of this book. Leia doesn't like that this is happening, that people are dying for her, or people are dying because of the cause. But it, like I said, that's the price of war, and that's what this book is kind of dealing with. So anyway, like I said, they go from planet to planet. The next planet they go to is Sid. It's a vacation spot planet. It's kind of amusing. They have to actually get some tourist clothing. So imagine Leia and this ragtag group walking around with sunglasses and Hawaiian shirts. But supposedly it's a very beautiful vacation spot planet, and the characters, this main crew, kind of comes to terms that that's what they're fighting for. The people of this planet are kind of oblivious to the war, and the prune face character, he's kind of criticizes that, but they make note and tell him, look, this is what we're fighting for, so that people can kind of live their lives without thinking about war. So they're trying to preserve this. So of course, they plant the beacon, are captured by pirates of all things, but the pirates ended up turning out to be okay. But the Imperials come and rain terror on the planet once again. So from there they go to another planet, Jaresh, and then finally they go to a planet, well, the yellow moon itself, Galan, and here they are actually captured by the Empire. Leia is put into another cell block, a detention room, and has another encounter with a Imperial interrogation droid. This time she's a little bit more successful with this, but the crew manages to get off the ship, and the rebel ships that they have been kind of summoning with these beacons ends up coming in to save the day, rescue them. I will say this, spoilers if you haven't already guessed, but spoilers for the book, Major Lockmarcha, the Dracilian prudence face guy, he does not make it out alive. As it turns out, this is a little bit of it's a heartbreaker of a book, folks. The communications specialist, the naive girl, Kitty, she ends up having a little bit of a romance with Lockmarcha, even though they're opposites. Opposites attract, and here she kind of has a lesson taught to her on that war is something to take serious. That your loved ones could end up dead. So all of this, of course, is leading to Leia's decision to go and rescue Han. That's where the book kind of ends, with her deciding that she's going to go and save the man she loves. And then finally we have our epilogue, and the epilogue kind of again brings it back to the Force Awakens era. I believe General Emat, who Han and Chewie rescued in their book, he appears and is talking to Leia, and Leia is asking about how the mission on Jakku is going, how is Poe Dameron going, and seems to allude to the fact that Leia might have some connection to him. So there you have it. Leia and Poe Dameron are somehow connected. So that's about it. I think, like I said, this book won me over. I didn't think it was going to be as good as it was, but it was good. It was decent. It was a good read. I definitely recommend picking it up. I will say one thing. Throughout the book, I was reminded of the Seinfeld episode where Elaine goes off and meets kind of the Bizarro Jerry and Bizarro George and Kramer, and they're all nice to her. I was always throughout the book I was thinking that this was kind of Leia's Bizarro friends. That Nine Numb was kind of the fill-in for Han Solo, and well, didn't really work out that way. But I was amused in my head of kind of pretending that this was just kind of Leia's way of kind of I want some new friends, let me try this group instead. But it didn't work out that way. It was a little bit deeper than that. So anyway, thanks to the authors, and thanks for winning me over, folks. So anyway, I'd like to hear what you guys have to say. Are you guys getting are you getting excited about The Force Awakens? 'Cause I know I am, and it's going to be on us very soon. So drop us a line, let me know what you're thinking, and as always, folks, stay granular.